Hi guys, it's officially 2026. Instead of doing New Year's resolutions, because I feel like a lot of the times it involves picking a new hobby or finding something that is completely new to add to your routine, which can sometimes be hard to do, I wanted to think about what existing habits I want to make changes to, which feels a lot more obtainable. And I have a little list right here, a list of things that I want to leave behind in 2025. And this is coming from a mindset where I just want to value my time more, my money more, and just in general look for happier and more satisfying life experiences. 1. Stop always being the one to hit up or initiate a conversation / get together with a friend without them reciprocating. I feel like in some of my friendships, I am usually the one to initiate that conversation to catch up with someone, getting a lunch or dinner. And while I don't mind doing that because I work fully remote, so it's easier for me to look for restaurants, book a reservation, and I have an amazing time when I'm out with them. However, I do feel quite disappointed when we're at that 3 to 4 month mark where it feels like it's time to catch up, but I just know that they're not going to be the one to bring it up, and this hangout is never gonna happen unless I'm the one that brings it up. And I know most of the time it's not personal because our jobs are very different. They might work on the weekend or they might only see their partners on the weekends, which makes their availability much more limited, especially because I'm only free on the weekends. But I do wish that I see more of the intention to even plan something, because sometimes I do end up taking it a little personal. I might think that they don't really care about this friendship anymore, which could be true in some cases, especially as we are getting older and we have different hobbies, very different jobs, lifestyles, living situations, and we just have less in common with each other, less things to talk about. And I think most importantly, they also have new friends that they prioritize more over others. So I really try to not take it too personally because this is just part of growing up. But I think for my sake, I do have to take a step back and stop trying to be the glue that holds a friendship together, which sounds really intense to say, and I love every person that I choose to spend my time with, but I also need to start seeing that being reciprocated. Number 2, taking my business elsewhere when I feel like the service is not up to par or I feel like an interaction rubbed me the wrong way. Okay, I have a few specific scenarios that come into mind. It is at a massage parlor that I've been to a few times, and I work in front of my computer like 11 hours a day as a graphic designer and also as a content creator. So my back is like hunched over like a shrimp. And plus, I do pottery where your back is hunched over even more. Every time that I go in to get a massage, the masseuse would be like, wow, your back is so tense for someone so young. And I've been to a few locations where they say that. So I don't know if my back is actually super fucked up or this is just what they say to everyone. So while I'm laying there trying to relax and drift into absolute bliss, the masseuse is behind me telling me how my back is so tense and trying to upsell their services. It would be like the usual thing, nothing weird. They would try to recommend me like the hot stones or aromatherapy. I also had a masseuse one time tell me that I should get the 90-minute service instead of my usual 1-hour service because my back is so tense. And I understand this is a business and they want you to pay for a pricier service. But I've had this one lady before, she was trying to convince me how stressful I was and how badly I needed additional services. First of all, I would know how stressed I am. I don't need someone telling me that. And while I was getting my massage, she was telling me how much my hair was falling out. Like, oh my gosh, so much hair. You're so stressed. First of all, hair falls out every single day. You actually shed between 50 to 150 strands a day. I have a lot of hair, pretty thick hair as well, so I shed more on the 150 side, and I literally shed like a dog. So my hair falling out while getting a massage does not concern me at all, especially since There is a head massage included, and there's also friction on the towels that they use, so I'm not surprised that I have a few hairs falling out. I just find it funny that she chose to use that selling point for aromatherapy. I also have another occurrence. I think it might be with the same lady, I don't really remember. I went in one day right after my boxing class. I had my boxing gloves with me, and just for context, this was my second ever boxing class. I just have my own gloves because it's actually not that expensive to buy your own gloves. It's like 30 bucks, and I much rather use my own clean gloves rather than renting the studio gloves for like $5-10. So that's why I have my own gloves with me. It's not because I practice boxing all the time. So I was going in to get my massage. I hung my gloves right next to my clothes because they were too big to fit in my bag, and the masseuse was like, "Oh, so you do boxing and that's why your back is so tense." Again, this is my second boxing class ever, and it's also not like hardcore boxing. Like, I'm not literally going to like fight someone. I'm hitting a balloon. I don't know, I kind of feel like I just got the ick because she was acting like she knew everything. And also, while I'm getting a massage, like, I don't want them talking to me. Is that so much to ask for? So while I do love the massages there and they get the knots out every single time, I love that the entire place is just run by women, but I'm gonna have to find a new place. Number 3, this is a hot take for sure, but stop tipping at establishments where the service is simply the bare minimum. I'm specifically talking about places where it would take the servers less than a minute to get me my food. So for example, when I'm picking up my takeout, I'm literally like not doing delivery and not dining in to try to save money. I'm walking to the restaurant myself. I'm not taking up a seat. I'm not getting a cup of water. I'm not using the bathroom. I'm simply just picking up my food. And another one is when I'm at cafes, especially when I'm not sitting down and when I'm ordering something super simple like a tea or just a cold brew that they're grabbing from the tap. Another example is when I'm buying a pastry and they're just grabbing a cold pastry from the shelves, not heating it up, where it would literally take them like less than 30 seconds to grab me my pastry. Another specific example that I can think of was when I went to Press Juicery to get a juice, and they have these bottled juices, but it's in a fridge behind the counter. So the cashier simply turned around, opened the fridge, and grabbed me the juice that I wanted, and then they turned the iPad to me to ask how much I want to tip. I'm sorry, but I cannot leave a tip just for that. Don't get me wrong, I have so much respect for service workers, and I also worked in food service before where I developed the habit of always tipping because getting a lot of tips at the end of the day always makes me really happy. But I feel like at some point tipping does get kind of ridiculous, especially when someone's just turning around to grab something that's already done. But obviously, if I have a complicated order or I have a really massive order, I will absolutely leave a tip. Number 4, I put stop ordering lattes because I'm only going to be ordering no milk beverages from now on. I've started noticing cafes charging like a whole $1 for plant-based milks, and I'm lactose intolerant, so if I am getting a latte, I will have to order either oat or almond. Unfortunately, I just don't have a choice since I'm lactose intolerant. I didn't mind paying that when it was 50 cents for that substitute. When it was 75 cents, I didn't really like it, but you know, it's okay because it's still like less than $1. But now we are at the full $1, and when you think about it, there's also tax, so you're actually paying $1 something just for a splash of oat milk, which I don't know, I feel like that's kind of crazy. Like, most times when you order a latte in New York City, it ends up being like a $8-9 beverage. I don't know, but that is insane to me. Another interesting fact that I've noticed is that some cafes are actually charging you for ice. For example, if you're ordering a iced matcha latte or iced coffee where you need to make the drink cold, you will see a charge for that. Personally, I think that's fucking insane. Something that I have already started doing recently is just ordering Americanos or just a cold brew instead of a latte, even though I do love a milky latte. I've also been getting a matcha tea sometimes. It usually ends up being a $5 drink, which I know $5 is still technically a lot, but it's less than the $8 at least. Yeah, that additional $1 charge really racks up, especially if you are someone that drinks coffee on a daily or weekly basis. On the topic of caffeine, stop drinking a lot of caffeine. I actually used to be someone that drank 3 cups of coffee a day, which is so bad. Sometimes it would just be 3 coffees, but sometimes it would also be like a combination of different things, like a coffee, a Celsius, and then a matcha in the afternoon. It's a lot of caffeine, I know. I had the flu a month ago, and it actually stopped me from drinking coffee for 2 weeks. Now I'm actually on a streak where I'm only drinking 1 cup of coffee a day, which I'm really proud of. I actually just have tea right now. My friend got this for me for my birthday. It's a little sushi cup, but I'm just hoping to maintain it for as long as I possibly can. 1 cup of coffee a day. Next one, stop restricting myself from foods that I want to eat. I need to give myself a little more freedom to eat whatever I want when I'm dining out and eating more healthy when I'm home. So I really wanted to have a healthy diet last year because the previous year my doctor actually told me that my cholesterol was very high and I was also pre-diabetic. Obviously I was freaking out, and every time I was in the office I was just getting a salad for lunch. Obviously balance is very important, and a way that I'm trying to compromise, or starting to try to compromise, is letting myself eat whatever I want when I'm dining out, going to the office. But when I'm at home, I'm gonna eat as healthy as I possibly can, because let's be real, when I'm in the office and I'm thinking about what I'm getting for lunch, like, am I spending $16 on a salad or $16 on a malatang? Like, obviously I'm always gonna pick the malatang. Like, I don't want a fucking salad. I feel like it's also important for me to put out this disclaimer because I know that dietary restrictions are important. I'm not in any way like encouraging people to just eat whatever crap that they want. I'm just saying this for myself because I personally don't go out a lot. I actually work fully remote except for occasional 1 or 2 days where I'm in office. So when I'm saying that I'm gonna eat whatever I want, it's like literally once a week or once every 2 week kind of thing. I'm not like literally going out every day and eating whatever I want. So there are still restrictions, but I just don't want to like restrict myself when I'm outside and I'm paying a dining out kind of price. Because when I'm at a nicer restaurant or a restaurant that I really want to try, like, I'm not gonna order like the boring, it's not, sorry, no offense, not boring, but I want to order the fun stuff, the stuff that I actually like. Stop working or checking messages when I'm supposed to be out of office. Oh gosh, I did such a great job this holiday break. Just no Slack, no emails. Up until middle of last year, I've actually always been a freelancer, and as someone that is just starting out in my career, like, I don't really have a lot of savings, and I don't really want to take days off because taking a few days or a week off means that you're losing out on those opportunities to make money. And as someone that is just starting out, I didn't want to do that, so I never took breaks as a freelancer unless I actually had something like emergency come up. And for context, when I was a freelance graphic designer, I worked with a lot of small startup brands where they only have one designer, which is me, which also means when I am out of office, there's no backup designer. Like, there's no one else that they can go to except for me. I never want to be a blocker for a project, so even when I was out of office, I would try to hop back onto my computer and try to get it to them. But now, as I'm getting older and I am actually experiencing some of the work stress, I do want to value my time outside of work a lot more. I also want to add that when something do come up when I'm out of office, it's usually a result of someone not planning ahead with my out of office hours in mind. I'm doing my part where I'm letting them know at least 2 weeks in advance when I will be out, and I'm also double checking if there is any work that they need before or after the time that I'll be out. And if they literally don't give me any work or they don't think about what is coming up ahead, like that's not my fault. If you randomly just come up with something new while I'm already out, that's kind of on you, not me. Sorry. This is probably common knowledge for a lot of people, but for me, it has taken me a long time to learn it because I have a lot of people pleaser tendencies. And also when I was just starting out with my career, I was always afraid that I would make someone unhappy for whatever reason, so I would try my best to get it done even though it's like out of my comfort zone. Okay, last one, not replacing or throwing out beauty products when they are most definitely expired. I'm so bad at this. I still have so many beauty products that I got when I was in college. I know for sure I still have at least one beauty product left from high school. I'm specifically talking about the Anastasia Beverly Hills Razy highlighter. That was my favorite thing ever and it's discontinued, so I can't throw it out. I think what is holding me back from throwing out my really old products is that I bought them when I had no money. These products were products that were on my wish list or shopping carts for months, and it took me months to also afford them. When I finally got them, they were things that I valued like treasure. Not only that, the really bad thing is that I would only save them for special occasions, so I wasn't even like using the heck out of them. Like I would use them once a week, once a month. I'm like, this is so expensive, I can't use this unless I'm like going to a dinner. I would have so much of that product left, and guess what? It fucking expired. But again, because it was so expensive, I'm like, oh my god, I can't throw it out. I have to still try to use it. And I would keep using it, but because I know that it's expired and I know that there's a chance of fucking up my skin, I use it very slowly. You know, you can see how this is like a whole can of worms that just won't stop coming out because I still have these fucking products that are like 8 years old. That's disgusting. I definitely learned my lesson last year because for a long time I was having these like dry patches on my eyelids. They were like eczema looking patches, and I just thought maybe I'm developing eczema. I know that when you're stressed, like you have a bunch of skin issues that come up, and I just thought, okay, maybe I'm just at that age where the work stress is getting to me and I'm just starting to get eczema, but on my eyelids only. Guys, the whole time it was actually these Glossier Lit Stars in the shades Cub and Fawn that I got when I was in college. And also I had these dry patches going on my eyes for 3 weeks, and the week that I stopped using the Glossier Lit Stars, they all went away. Like shocker. And you think I would know better because I work in the beauty industry and I've personally worked with product developers, chemists, beauty founders before. I should know these safety precautions better, but I don't follow them clearly unless I actually run into an issue.